Welcome in. So, people have asked me on numerous occasions since the Sin buffs, how good actually is he? I'm finally gonna talk about how good Sin is now. You guys will get right from the source, how actually good is he now? Because people on Twitter are going, wah, wah, wah. I can't beat him, wah, wah. We're gonna talk about how good he actually is today. So we're gonna talk about what actually is changed with Sin, right? Let's talk about that. Fucking shitty good Mythical Morning intro. Like, what actually makes him better now? What was the biggest stuff he got? What actually was the biggest changes? How much have they affected him? And people still don't know the matchup. Big thing. Right off the top of my head. Most obvious thing is this. This is probably the most obvious change firsthand immediately. Backdash was trash. But it was heavily compounded by you didn't have a far slash to contest that mid-range, so you had to give up space with a backdash this slow. But now that it's faster, and this is faster, mid-range is now Sin's playground in a way it was not before. And you had to mash this to play mid-range, and this. And press Beak Driver in ways that you didn't really want to. Sin now owns the mid-range. Like, flat out, owns it. Right? This is fucking ridiculous. The corner carry, the damage, that was a miss of Sweet Spot. This is a big thing. New L cut is pretty great. You know, and you can still do your stuff like this. Big damage, but you don't lose stamina anymore for that. You're not like negative in stamina for that anymore, right? You get to keep resources because the Kara changed. But I don't think these are actually the changes that affect him the most. I actually don't think these are the things that actually did the most to this character. I think it was this. This was the big thing that really did it. Was this 5H. 5H is now -2 instead of -4. I think this is actually the biggest change he got. I have Soul set to do a 4-frame normal. That did not work before. I used to lose to that. You could still grab L-Cut. And I want to clarify something. Still loses to 3 frames. You're trading with 3-frame buttons. You're not losing them. But the trade's not really in anyone's favor. So it could be worse. That is huge. 5H guaranteed we beat stuff like that. And because you're using 5H now a lot more, right? Because of the changes to 5H, and now it being like the main Gatling, you can frame trap people with this. This is a frame trap. It loses to 3-frame normals, but it beats 4-frame normals. This is a real frame trap. That leads into that. That's a real frame trap now. That, like, it worked as a frame trap before, but it wasn't something you went for a lot because 5H wasn't incredible before, right? If I had to advise people to do anything, the biggest thing I can tell you all right now is that as Sin, unless you want to try and open someone up with a random, like, 2H instead of 5H for block strings, start doing 5H. Can you do RTL for more damage too? 256 is how much I got from that. Same sequence. We're even going to go for the follow-up. You get 1 less damage with 100 meter. You get less with RTL now. So RTL is now, like, low-key, might be one of the worst supers in the whole game, flat out. It's only really going to be good for this, like at corner carry, right? Also, this... that works now. That did not work pre-patch. Welcome in, right. That did not work pre-patch. Now we're in this position where Sin has essentially real block strings, real 50-50. He just has more going for him in the department he struggled in the most, which was his fake block pressure. Because the second you understood how it worked, it didn't work. You car cancel from most follow-ups to break the wall almost from anywhere. It's not bad. What do you mean from most follow-ups? If you think you can car cancel most follow-ups from anywhere, like I'm gonna show you something quickly. Point blank. You can't do that. You've never been able to do that. This has never worked. Neither is this. These don't work. These don't work, right? That's what makes a car RTL so hard to use, is that you have to react. You have to react to a successful L cut with the car input. It's not really like free. It's not actually free. It's quite hard to get it. And yeah, you can still grab L cut. It's harder now. It's way harder. So There was old combos before where it was stuff like, I don't know if it still works. Let me see if these still like apply. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying, right? There is still use for Kara RTL because this still happens. Buffs or not, this still happens. So as a good Sin player, you will grow to recognize when that's going to happen and buffer in RTL instead of Tyrant. That's what RTL is used for in Kara's, when you don't think Tyrant is going to connect. That's really all it's for now. Or like Elcon and RTL, which is very hard to do on reaction. You gotta call it out, the Elcon? Yeah, you gotta call Elcon out, kind of. You can still react to it to some extent, but not as easy as you. It's just harder. You can still react to Elcon, but it's harder. It's way harder now. Yeah, no, Far Slash is incredible. The recovery is still terrible. Like, this is... Like, the recovery is still fucking trash, right? It's still 19 frames of recovery on this Far Slash. But we can do this now, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, no, a mental stack 100% means you can't react to it. I agree. If you have mental stack, you're not reacting to it and throwing it. Holding it is usually better. It is usually better to hold L-cut now, because, like, with Far Slash, Far Slash has layers of RPS to it now, right? It always did, but now it's actually real. That's, like, a real thing now that you can do, is this stuff. And now, because, it's mostly still good, Skagun. Right now, we're technically making the follow-up, actually. We're doing that right now.
True.
We're making the follow-up video right now. We don't have to use as many tricks anymore. We can kind of just play neutral with the rest of the cast now, finally, which is beautiful. The big thing that's, like, massively noticeable is immediately how much more afraid people are of mid-range with Sin. So, Sin before was supposed to be a mid-range, and welcome in Jackwood. Sin was supposed to be a mid-range character, and now he actually is. We can play a lot more of the game now. This button is, like, now borderline pointless. There's, like, I don't actually see much reason to press it anymore. Like, it beats low profiles, but if I want to beat low profiles, I'm hitting this. It has more reward on counter hit. Like, that's just the truth of it. Like, if we go for counter hit. Is Far Slash longer? Nope, it's just not shit anymore. Can we situational? It's situational, yeah. It's like, it's not useless. I shouldn't have said useless. It's just not as good. Because now it doesn't really have as much purpose, right? It used to carry a lot of weight, but now this button's just, it's faster. It's got, like, more recovery on it, but it's faster and it's longer. The hitbox is still pitifully pencil thin, but whatever. So that begs the actual question now, right? How good actually is Sin? That begs the question. How good actually is he now? I was gonna whip up a tier list for like a season 2 tier list to show off where I'd put him now. If he's busted, they're wrong. I want it to be known right now, the people who are saying Sin is busted are wrong as fuck. They just haven't learned the matchup because they never had to before this, right? There was only like 10 to 20 Sins that actually made you learn the matchup, right? Yeah, his risk gain, his super, his DP, and his corner carry. Those are the big things that he has going for him. Sin win a major with the buffs, he can. I don't think, I want to clarify, I want to stress this beforehand as well, chat. Let me stress this. In this patch, in Season 3 of Strive, there is no low tier. I genuinely believe this. I don't think there's a low tier this patch. I think most arguments for it existing are kind of stupid. There is no low tier. There is no character in the game that cannot do it, because every character now has a tool to get combos off of their pokes and convert off their pokes. There is no low tier. That's the big thing I want to mention right before I get into where he is. There is no low tier. I would say he is at the bottom of high tier, just because his Far Slash still has a lot of recovery. Beak Driver is still dog shit. Like, it is still one of the worst specials in the game. That move did not get touched at all. Like, and it actually got worse, because Elysium Driver can grab Beak Driver now. Sin loses to zoners really bad. Except Johnny. He does pretty well against Johnny. From first impressions, he has really good neutral RPS with Johnny because of Elcon buffs. There's one big thing they did not do to Sin that they fucking needed to. He still loses if he hits you with a jump in. If Sin jumps in on you, and with a JS, and you get hit by it, he is minus and you can throw him for a true punish. They did not fix that. They could have at least given JS like 1 or 2 more frames of hit stun, something. What jump in you should use? JK. If they block it, you jump cancel JD, and then you can force them to hold something, like a D. You can DP after it if you think they're gonna mash. You can do hoof stomp if you think they're gonna hold. Jump kick is your best one, like low key. Low key jump kick might be the best jump in he has. Or perfectly spaced JH are really good too. That one's really good too. Zona's kind of like, well, yeah, Leo has bad jump ins, but Sin has awful jump ins. Like straight up, you lose if you're right jump ins. That's how bad they are. Sin still does not have real jump-ins. So, if Sin got Beak Driver buffed, like in almost any way, essentially, he would have been a lot better. The jump-ins are still garbage. Far Slash still has a way too much recovery on it. I would appreciate if it got to like 16 or 17, not 19. That's still fucking insane. And that's basically the problems. Those are the only issues he really has anymore. Sin is completely fine. I would just appreciate Beak to have less than 22 fucking frames recovery on it, because you get supered on hit. I would have appreciated that, right? That's all I would have really appreciated majorly over what they did. Was Beak being like less, like having less recovery. The follow-up not having that stupid gap at the foot where you could just kick him and like he dies is stupid. All in all, he's way better. Last big thing to note is that, like, I want to remind everyone once again, when I say there's no low tier this patch, I'm saying that with my fucking chest. Everyone in the game can do it this patch. There is no argument for not being able to. Every character can win this patch. And, like, the only time in, like, Season 2 Strive that there was a time when I genuinely think a character could not do it, it was Bedman. That was the only time. And a Bedman still won a regional bracket in Germany, I believe it was. So even then, he could still do it. It was just really fucked up, right? There's only one exception. It's when Happy Chaos is on the fucking screen. That dude is a problem, but he's not getting banned. And I think it should stay that way. We can learn the matchup. We can get better. We can gap harder.